You have to do something about some of this deadly behavior that's out here.
This afternoon, Monona's police chief is speaking out on the chase his department initiated that ended with a crash, injuring a Madison officer.
And what the newest Democratic candidate for Wisconsin governor thinks of the president's tariff policy.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us in today.
Good to have you with us on this Thursday. We begin with continuing coverage of a crash that left a Madison police officer seriously injured.
Video shows the minutes leading up to that crash, and you can see a tow truck driver driving erratically as police cars are chasing it. The suspect behind the wheel, Christopher Bruger, eventually crashed into a Madison squad car, sending Officer Ryan Kimberly to the hospital. The video stopped short of that moment. Bruger is now facing multiple charges but has yet to be formally charged.
The chief of the Monona Police Department, which started this pursuit, says this is an example of a violent offender putting more people at risk after getting a light sentence.
He spoke with Armand Rahman about the incident and what he hopes happens next. Armand?
Brady, Susan, Bruger is facing over 16 charges from Monona Police Department and the Wisconsin State Patrol. Back in 2022, he was involved in a similar incident, hitting and injuring a police officer from Monona. Chief Brian Cheney says his officers did not know Bruger's identity while attempting to stop him at the gas station or during the 4.5-mile chase that reached speeds over 80 miles per hour and ended with Bruger allegedly hitting Officer Ryan Kimberly and his K9 Freddie. But Chief Cheney says it's another example of a repeat violent offender that he and the community are always on alert for, and they're tired of it.
We know this colleague, and so obviously we're human beings and there's a connection there, but we're also treating this like any other case we handle. So I guess why you're seeing me a little bit more vocal on this is because of the circumstances you described. Yet again, we have an incident involving a repeat violent offender committing very similar acts. Something has to be done. We cannot keep this as status quo.
Sheriff's detectives have compiled evidence to support referring a first-degree reckless injury charge. It's also Bruger's fourth offense of driving while impaired. Now, I also showed the video we obtained of the chase to a law enforcement expert to analyze. Hear what he has to say tonight at 5. Officer Kimberly remains in the hospital in stable condition.
Thank you, Armand. News 3 Now has been covering this story since the crash last weekend. You can find more information about the officer who was hurt and how to help his family during his recovery on the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
Now to the weather. Blaze Keller is here watching the forecast, and it just gets warmer and warmer.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to watch because it's been so quiet, but temperatures underneath these quiet conditions, very summer-like. Mid-80s right now in Dodgeville on our Upland Hills Skycam. Winds beginning to turn out of the southwest, and we're going to talk about those southwesterly winds a little bit more in detail in the full forecast and why they're able to warm us up just that little bit more. But take a look at these temperatures ranging from the low 80s in Fond du Lac, Juneau coming in at 80 and 81 degrees to more of those mid-80s. Prairie du Chien 85 degrees, 84 in Platteville, 85 in Monroe as well, 81 in Madison, McFarland, 84 in Verona, and a comfortable 80 in Sun Prairie. So very summer-like given that we have kicked off October and we have officially kicked off fall. But take a look at where temperatures may be tomorrow afternoon, flirting with the 90s. I wouldn't rule out a few 90s there across parts of Crawford as well as Grant counties as we go into tomorrow afternoon, thanks to those southwesterly winds. We'll take a look at just how long the heat sticks around for coming up in the full forecast.
Thank you, Blaze. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul is part of a coalition suing the U.S. Department of Justice in order to block new restrictions on federal funds for crime victims. The lawsuit challenges a new rule that restricts people who receive legal services from Victims of Crime Act grant funds. The rule requires victims to be screened for immigration status before they can get help. In a statement on the suit, Kaul says the law undermines public safety.
To the 2026 race for Wisconsin governor now. This week, another Democrat joined an already crowded primary.
Missy Hughes joins Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, State Senator Kelda Roys, State Representative Francesca Hong, businessman Ryan Strnad, and former State Representative Brett Halsey.
The former state economic development director announced her candidacy on Monday. In her announcement, Hughes promised to reject divisive politics. Before heading the WEDC, Hughes worked at a dairy cooperative for 17 years, and as its executive, she oversaw hundreds of employees. Hughes says her priorities are higher wages, improving public schools, child care, and housing. While speaking with For the Record host Ellie La Liberté, Hughes commented on the president's tariffs.
But what I'm worried about is the tariffs are adding such instability to our economy that we're going to see companies and businesses start to say, maybe I'm not going to hire as many people this year. Maybe I'm not going to make that investment. And that has ripple effects throughout the economy and really affects Wisconsinites.
That is in stark contrast with what we've heard from candidates on the other side of the aisle, like Congressman Tom Tiffany, who is in favor of the president's tariffs.
Tiffany has declared himself the front runner in the race and carries the most name recognition. He's just one of two GOP candidates alongside Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman.
Ellie will have more from her interview with Missy Hughes this Sunday on For the Record. It starts right after CBS News Face the Nation, Sunday morning at 10:30.
This Breast Cancer Awareness Month, public health officials in Dane County are highlighting a program that makes sure every woman in Wisconsin has access to these screenings. In the U.S., 1 in 8 women will develop the disease. In Dane County, about 425 women receive a diagnosis each year. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force says most women should start getting mammograms at 40. And while health insurance covers the screenings for many women, some people skip it because they can't afford it.
And that's where the Wisconsin Well Woman program comes in. It helps women with little or no health insurance get breast cancer screenings for free. If you're 40 or older, have not received a mammogram, and have little or no health insurance, reach out to this program. More information about it is available at dhs.wisconsin.gov.
Well, this time of year is perfect for taking your family apple picking at one of Wisconsin's many farms.
Best time of the year, and that's where we find News 3 Now This Morning's Kyrian Lee and Chris Stanford. They'll talk to the 78th Alice in Dairyland a little later on Live at 4.
Maybe wear a t-shirt, though, while you're out. And we're nearing record highs for this time of year. Blaze Keller shows us when we could expect a cool down in his First Warn forecast.
Plus, it's day 2 of a partial government shutdown, whether there's any sign of a deal in the works when Live at 4 returns. In the UK, police are treating an attack outside of a Manchester synagogue as terrorism. Police say a man drove his car this morning into people and stabbed them, killing 2 people. Within minutes, law enforcement shot and killed the suspect. The chaos unfolded as people celebrated Yom Kippur, considered the holiest day in the Jewish calendar.
We've all fasted since 6:30 last night. You want to feel secure, you want to be able to go to places and feel that you can just walk around and do what you can do.
2 other people have been arrested in connection with the attack. Police have not provided more information about them. In the aftermath, British police are stepping up patrols across the country.
The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating a collision between 2 Delta Airlines jets last night at LaGuardia Airport. A plane with 32 people was preparing for takeoff when its wing made contact with an arriving plane carrying 61 people. The collision hurt a flight attendant, damaged a cockpit, and tore off part of the wing. It also left dozens of people stranded in New York. It's not clear which plane was at fault, but the FAA says an air traffic control had instructed the departing plane to hold short and yield to the plane that was arriving.
It's day 2 of the federal government shutdown, and a day 3 appears to be guaranteed because no new votes are scheduled for today.
And the longer this goes, the more likely some federal workers won't just be furloughed, but laid off entirely. Erica Brown has the latest from Capitol Hill.
The deadlock over federal funding continues in Washington on day 2 of the government shutdown, with the White House saying no negotiations are scheduled.
We haven't wanted to negotiate. We just want to keep the government open. That's been the Republican and the Trump White House position since the very beginning.
The Democrats are holding firm on reversing cuts to Medicaid and extending subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, which are expiring at the end of the year.
This is a now thing because those premiums are hitting when on November 1st, when that market opens up.
No votes are scheduled in the Senate today in observance of the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur, but they will vote once again on Friday on a short-term spending bill to fund the government through mid-November.
I realize that my Democrat colleagues are facing pressure from members of their far-left base, but they're playing a losing game here.
President Trump is now moving ahead with plans for cuts, writing on social media that he is meeting with his budget director to determine which, quote, Democratic agencies should be cut. In a call with Republicans Wednesday, the White House also warned mass layoffs could come soon.
It's likely going to be in the thousands. It's a very good question, and that's something that the Office of Management and Budget and the entire team at the White House here, again, is unfortunately having to work on today.
The union representing federal workers is suing to stop the layoffs.
We've had shutdown, but not one time have anyone equated firing an employee in conjunction with a furlough. This is the first time this has ever happened, because everybody else understood that it would have been illegal.
Roughly 750,000 federal workers have been furloughed as a result of the shutdown. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Meanwhile, Wall Street remains unfazed by the shutdown. The Dow is up 79 points, the Nasdaq is up 89 points, the S&P 500 is up 4.
President Trump is escalating efforts to deploy federal law enforcement into U.S. cities, calling them training ground for the military. Attorney General Pam Bondi is claiming success in the first days of the crackdown in Memphis. Bondi wrote on social media, the Memphis Safe Task Force has made more than 90 arrests and seized more than 24 guns this week. Some say the influx of law enforcement, however, isn't necessary. Memphis police say in the first 8 months of this year, the city's crime rate was at a 25-year low.
A tariff supposed to go into effect this week on imported drugs is now delayed. The Trump administration says the 100% tariff on brand name or patented drugs will not be levied while it evaluates companies' proposals to reduce prices and increase U.S. manufacturing. But the White House says it's still working on those tariffs.
Let's get another check of the weather. Record-breaking warmth continues to be the story. What is it? Look at the calendar. October 2nd. You have to remind yourself.
Yeah, because we really don't see 90s this far out, let alone the 80s as well. We start to say goodbye to them as we get towards the end of not only July, but then further into September. That's when we usually say goodbye to those 80s. But Mother Nature has a different plan this year. We could see record heat as we go into Friday, Saturday, with those 80s continuing into Sunday of next week. And then the rain moves in, some much needed rain that we'll talk about later on in Live at 4. Let's focus on the heat right now, and then we'll talk about the rain later on in this hour. Not a whole lot going on big picture wise, but the reason why we're going to be dealing with a lot more heat or allowed to warm up is because of a low pressure system that's going to be coming off of the Dakotas as we go into Friday and then further into Saturday. We're essentially between two systems, and both of their winds are going to be out of the south. Southerly winds out ahead of this low pressure system and southerly winds behind that exiting high. So a highway, a constant stream of southerly winds and southwesterly winds tomorrow are really going to help warm us up. Couple that with dry air and sunshine, we have all the making for those warm temperatures. And then starting later Sunday into Monday, this is when that low pressure system begins to exit. Its cold front will bring us that chance, or that first chance for rain, starting later Sunday night into Monday. Take a look at those high temperatures we're expecting as we go into Saturday afternoon. Much like Friday, mid to upper 80s, if not a few low 90s, especially out there across lower portions of the Wisconsin River Valley, where it's just likely that we'll probably be a little bit warmer than everybody else. If we get into 87 degrees on Friday for the Madison area, we'll set a new daily high temperature record. The previous one, 85 degrees, hit twice, 1997 and 2005. Saturday, we're going to 88. We have to beat 87 degrees set back in 2005 as well. So many of us, not only Madison, could set new daily high records for both Friday and Saturday, as high temperatures compared to normal, anywhere between 20 to 25 degrees above average, not only Friday, but into Saturday as well. So we're getting a last taste of summer, if you will. The good thing is we don't have that humidity. We just have the dry conditions, so it's not really unbearable outside. But southwesterly winds, why do they warm us up so much better than even southerly winds? Because they're pulling in air that is really located over tropical areas or subtropical areas of the world. And then that air is moved overhead. And that air has also been sitting underneath sunshine for a little bit longer than, say, even southerly winds or southeasterly winds pulling in that air mass. So when we have southwesterly winds, it's just much more likely that we're going to be slightly warmer than even southerly winds or southeasterly winds. So there's a look at your 10 and 7-day forecast. Other than the rain chances starting later Sunday night, it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Friday night football will be pleasant. Saturday, even though the Badgers are away over there in Michigan, probably very similar conditions. I can't imagine they're going to be dealing with a whole lot different weather than we are across the lake. Next week, a little bit cooler, but still above average, even when we get into those low 60s, and we'll add back a couple chances for some much needed rain.
What is average for this time of year?
High temperatures, upper 60s.
Wow,
yeah.
Way above.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
We'll get there.
We'll finally feel like fall, and then we'll complain about it.
You're right.
We'll complain about winter.
Why isn't it summer here?
Yeah, we'll enjoy the warmth while it's here.
Yes, you're right. Thank you, Blaze.
Meanwhile, Susan and I are ready for Christmas with the red and green. Well, with 171 donations yesterday, News 3 Now's Coats for Kids campaign has received a total of 3,087 coats to keep Dane County kids warm this winter.
We would still like your help if you have some coats to donate. We're trying to reach 5,000 by Saturday. October 4th is the end of our collection. You can drop off any new or gently used winter gear to any Clinky Cleaners in Dane County. And thank you to everyone who's donated so far.
We've got this. We're so close, everyone.
Coming up on Live at 4, we're going to head out to do some apple picking. It is fall after all.
It is fall after all. We'll show you that after this break.
This really is such a great time of year, and there are so many local farms where you can celebrate fall across Wisconsin.
We're so spoiled.
We are. We're lucky.
Yeah. Earlier, our morning anchors Chris Stanford and Kyrion Lee visited a Dane County favorite to learn more about that local impact.
You know, this time of year, I love coming to a place like this, Kyrion, an apple orchard. This morning, we are at Appleberry Farms in Cross Plains. They're celebrating their 50th season.
Yes, and to help us celebrate, we have the 78th Allison Dairyland, Sarah Hagenow, joining us now. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's so fun to be out on one of our many Wisconsin farms enjoying the agricultural tourism season.
What do you love most about coming to a place like this?
What I love about coming out to our over 58,000 farms in Wisconsin is that the farmers have the opportunity to invite that reconnection to agriculture, or a connection for many people. This is a great way for people to see how food production happens and learn about the farmer's story and why they enjoy doing what they do. We produce so many diverse commodities in Wisconsin, and this is a great opportunity to see how that happens right on the farm.
Yes, so many people are visiting apple orchards, pumpkin patches, and corn mazes this time of year. So how does ag tourism benefit Wisconsin farmers?
Agricultural tourism is very important to our economy. Agriculture itself contributes $116.3 billion to Wisconsin's economy annually. So it's right up there with tourism and manufacturing. And this is a great blend of those industries. Agricultural tourism itself is then important because many people today may be 3 or 4 generations removed from the farm. So this is a great way to immerse yourself in agriculture and learn about food production in a recreational, informative, and entertaining way.
If anyone has any interest in coming to a place like this, whether it's this time of year or any time of year, is there a good resource that you'd recommend they check out?
Certainly. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection has gathered an entire list of resources for everyone to browse. So for your next ag venture, whether it's in the winter, spring, summer, or fall, you can head on out to the Wisconsin Department of Ag website, go to Agricultural Development and then Economic Development, and you'll find the agritourism homepage right there. It has resources from the Wisconsin Department of Tourism to Something Special from Wisconsin to the Wisconsin Agricultural Tourism Association.
And before we go, can you kind of tell us about those numbers you all are really emphasizing on this year?
Certainly. So the agricultural segment of the tourism industry has really grown in recent years. From 2002 to 2017, it nearly tripled from $202 million to about $990 million. So that was 8 years ago. So I can only imagine how it has continued to grow as people are seeking those authentic rural Wisconsin experiences. And like I said earlier, that is made possible by our over 58,500 farms in the state that are welcoming you to immerse yourself in agriculture, whether it's at apple orchards, pumpkin patches, corn mazes, maybe pizza farms across the state, lavender fields, sunflower fields, and so much more in between.
All right, good information. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's always a pleasure to be on.
And we will share all of these details over on our website, channel3000.com.
Thank you, guys. And Appleberry Farm, by the way, had a couple of fun fall competitions for our morning show team.
How about that? You can find more of that coverage online at channel3000.com.
In our next half hour, Tanasia Shaw takes a look at Dane County's proposed budget for 2026.
And how the county would deal with a multi-million-dollar deficit when we're back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Live at 4. Happy Thursday.
We're almost there. It's almost Friday.
We're doing it, everyone.
Let's take a look outside today. Boy, this is in your shorts and sitting by the water. No jacket required.
Summer energy.
Yeah, it is summer energy, and the weather words today nearing record warmth. We could break a record this week. Blaze is watching the forecast. What temperature would break that record?
Anything above 85 degrees tomorrow for Madison, anything above 87 on Saturday. Both days we could easily get into those mid to upper 80s. We've got dry conditions, we've got plenty of sunshine, and eventually we're going to have these winds turn out of the southwest, and those southwesterly winds pulling up tropical air that's been sitting under the sun can just get us into those mid to upper 80s just that much better. We're taking a live look at Lake Mendota over the Union Terrace where it's 81 degrees and it is comfortable outside. That humidity at a comfortable 39%. 84 in Janesville, 85 Lone Rock, 84 Boscobel into Prairie du Chien along the Wisconsin River. A couple of 80s towards Juneau, Watoma, as well as into Fond du Lac. We're looking at 80 in Sun Prairie and 85 in Mount Horeb. A very comfortable summer-like afternoon as we continue to kick our way or make our way into the start of fall. What we haven't seen over the last couple of days and is much needed is rain. Unfortunately, our drought condition, the abnormally dry percentage jumped from only 4% last week to now 36% across parts of Wisconsin. However, we've had a lot of rain throughout the rest of the year to really kind of cushion and not allow these drought conditions to expand, given how dry we have been in September. We're going to take a look at if there's any more rain in the forecast, because as I mentioned, we need some, to say the least. We'll track that out in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We now know the name of the 3 people killed in a crash in the town of Delona last weekend. 34-year-old Naomi Ewak Cleveland of Baraboo, 37-year-old Dante Grant, who has ties to Wisconsin and Nebraska, and 34-year-old Garrick Cleveland Jr. of Linden Station died from their injuries. The county says it received a call for a single vehicle crash on Coon Bluff Road, just north of County Highway P, just after 10:30 in the morning. Investigations indicated that car headed north caught fire after traveling at high speeds, losing control, and entering a wooded area.
Beloit police are investigating a homicide in the city. Officers responded to a home on White Avenue at about 3 in the morning for a report of a shooting. They found a 51-year-old man with a gunshot wound. First responders took him to the hospital, where he died. A 41-year-old man showed up at the hospital with a gunshot wound from the shooting, and he is expected to survive. Police say this was an isolated incident. A group of people was in the home where the shooting happened before it occurred. Anyone with information about the shooting should contact Beloit Police at the number on your screen.
Health officials say they have detected another case of bird flu in a Jefferson County poultry flock. The first case was confirmed a week ago in a commercial facility with more than 3 million poultry. This most recent case was also in a commercial facility with a little more than 500,000 poultry. This is one of 3 locations where bird flu was detected in Wisconsin this year. Public health officials say they're continuing continuing to monitor exposed workers for symptoms, but the risk to the public remains low.
Dane County now has a proposed budget. County officials are hoping the budget will tackle the $31 million deficit Dane County is facing.
Our Tanisha Shaw is here to tell us what's included in the budget proposal. Tanisha?
Yes, the Dane County Supervisor Melissa Agard proposed a $903.5 million budget plan yesterday. If it's proposed as is, county employees will see an impact. The 2026 budget is roughly 4% less than last year's budget. The biggest changes that you will notice is a hiring freeze for vacancies that are not essential, a 1% pay cut for county employees in 2026, and again, that hiring freeze, so there will be a lot of people who will not be hired. That will save the county about $2 million. Earlier today, I talked to County Board Supervisor Patrick Miles, and he says that at least one department will have to have less resources this year.
But it is sort of like squeezing a balloon. We have to have a balanced budget in the end. So if we're looking at applying more resources in one area, we're going to have to reduce it elsewhere.
Miles also went on to say that the county board, everyone on the county board has the same goal, and that is to take care of the county's most critical needs. Next at 6, I'll have more on what's included in this budget, and we'll hear more from Supervisor Miles.
Tanasia, thank you.
We'll see you at 6.
Well, at the Pack in a bye week, our senior Packers writer is taking a look back before their next game on the 12th.
Jason Wilde has analysis on Romeo Doubs' time with the Packers.
A year ago at this time, Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs was in a funk. He had skipped work on Thursday and Friday of game week, supposedly because he was unhappy with his role in the offense. That led to a one-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the team going into their Sunday game at Los Angeles against the Rams in Romeo Doubs' hometown. Whether or not he would finish that season with the team, whether or not he would be back in 2025, there were times when there were questions about that. Well, what a difference a year makes. He has 13 receptions for 179 yards. He leads the Packers with 4 touchdown catches, including 3 in their tie with the Dallas Cowboys last Sunday night. I almost said lost because that's how it feels to everybody at 1265 Lombardi Avenue. Now the question is, can he sustain his strong start and keep showing he is such a vital piece to the Packers offense? We'll see if Romeo Doubs can sustain his production when the Packers return to action after their bye week. They'll do that on October 12th at Lambeau Field against the Cincinnati Bengals and right here on Channel 3. I wrote about Romeo Doubs today on channel3000.com. You can read that and all of our coverage for free there. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. Well, teenagers from around the country are taking a stand against gun violence.
It's culminating with a series of short plays in Wisconsin next week. We'll sit down with the director of Enough, Plays to End Gun Violence, when we come back.
And the summer-like weather continues. Meteorologist Blaze Keller shows us when we could see record-breaking heat in his first warn forecast.
In the United States, gun violence is the leading cause of death among children.
A grim reality has prompted calls from lawmakers, parents, and children themselves to end gun violence. And we've seen that through protests, legislation, and art.
Next week, Sauk Prairie River Arts Center will host Enough, Plays to End Gun Violence. It's highlighting 6 10-minute plays that were written by teenagers around the country.
The event's director, 16-year-old Stella Oshadatz, joins us right now. Thank you for being on with us.
Hi, Stella, nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, could you tell us about this event and how you became the director?
Yes, so this event is for my Girl Scout Gold Award project, so that's the highest award a Girl Scout can earn. And when I was planning what I wanted to do for my award, I knew my biggest passions were performing arts and ending gun violence. And so I found enough plays, and I decided the best way to put those together would just be to work with somebody who's already started.
We understand one of the plays was written by a survivor of the Abundant Life Christian school shooting. What can you tell us about that play?
That play takes you through kind of the media response to that day. So that play is about how often the media is centered around who can get the story first and capitalizing off of it rather than being there to support the victims. So it's a story about how we can support each other and the best way to support victims after gun violence.
Yeah, that's very important to, just treat everyone with kindness. How did this all come to be? And your process as a director, what do you want to bring to this?
I think the biggest thing I want to bring to this is I want to bridge the gap between people who already know a lot about gun violence prevention and want to do things, and the people who know it exists but don't know where to start. And so it's to kind of like bridge this gap between the two levels of where we are in activism and bring everybody together in the community.
And this is part of a national movement, right?
Yes, this is a national read-through. So on the same day, there will be 51 other performances besides ours in 28 states.
Wow. What are you hoping that when the audience sees it, what are you hoping that they feel or walk away with?
I'm hoping everyone finds something that they can relate to. I hope everyone sees something, because of all of the plays are so different, because it's 6 10-minute plays. I'm hoping that everybody sees something that makes them feel connected to them and makes them feel seen.
All of the people who wrote the plays, are they all high school students as well?
Yes, so Enough takes submissions from 13 to 19-year-olds across the U.S. So these were all written by high school age kids.
That is so impressive.
Yeah, and over the years, we've seen how gun violence has affected school-age children throughout. Do you hope that this can make a difference and give a better reality to the future generations out there?
Yes, I'm really hopeful. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming to be involved in gun violence prevention, but I'm hoping that when talking about a heavy topic through art, we can also bring hope to people and that people will see a way to make change together.
Where can people see the play and support your work?
Sauk Prairie River Arts Center, Leola Hall on October 6th at 7 p.m.
And then they can get tickets at?
It's free.
It is free,
so
okay.
We're hoping to fill the theater, so it's a free event.
Okay, and enoughplays.com is the website?
Yes, enoughplays.com.
Very good. Thank you so much for being on with us,
Yes,
Stella.
thank you for having me.
Congratulations, Stella. Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back. Well, here's a live look at Los Angeles, and actually right now it's cooler there than it is in Madison at a brisk 77 degrees.
One of those weird days, Blaze, and the extreme heat rolls on.
Yeah, parts of the plains are in the 80s and 90s today. We could be there tomorrow and into Saturday. And if we're able to get into those upper 80s for the Madison area, and I think that extends to a lot of southern Wisconsin, we could be setting new daytime high records for both Saturday and Friday's date. It's going to be quiet not only tonight, but Friday, Saturday, and for most of Sunday. It's starting in the evening and overnight Sunday that our low that's helping warm us up will start to move its way eastward and actually bring us our first chance for some rain. So it's going to be sunny and warm on Friday. It's going to be breezy and warm on Saturday as winds turn more out of the south. This is our next rainmaker. Again, it's helping warm us up before it moves on through. We're starting to see some rain pop up on Feature Track as we go into the mid to late afternoon hours across northwestern Wisconsin on Sunday. That rain chance is going to expand its way south and eastward as we go Sunday night into Monday, with that rain and maybe a few thunderstorms continuing Monday night into Tuesday. Not anticipating any severe weather because, again, we're not really moist. We don't have a whole lot of upper level mechanics to get that severe thunderstorm chance. But what we will be seeing is some much needed rain, especially here across southern Wisconsin, where we really had a lackluster September. So in terms of rain totals over the next 7 days, this is going to include Sunday night's chance into Monday and Tuesday, maybe some of our late week chances next week as well. While not impressive, it's still rain nonetheless. We're looking at about a ½ inch or so widespread. That's where we start to get some of these blues and these darker greens. Everybody else in that more lighter green is about 1/10 to 1/4 inch of rain. We're not really in the growing season anymore, but what we don't want is all the moisture in the soil to be used up because then we would have to rely more on the snow in the winter to set us up for a really good growing season next spring. So we want to put in a lot of moisture into the ground before it freezes over, so they don't have to rely on that snow as much in the winter. And even though it's been a lackluster September, Wisconsin is actually in a pretty good spot. Here's a look at the state's rain compared to normal from January through August. We have over 2.5 or nearly 2.5 inches of extra rain to play with. When we look at the Madison area, even though we were shorted over 2 inches of rain in September, we still have over 2.5 inches of rain to play with, and that's taking in September's data. So we are sitting at an okay spot. It's not great, but all that extra rain over the course of these last couple of months have really put a padding on the expansion of drought and dry conditions because of this drier than normal September. So all things considered, even though the percentage of the state now is up to 36% being abnormally dry, I think it could be much worse if we hadn't had a lot of that extra rain. So there's some good and there's some bad. The good is not only do we have that extra rain that we've been able to pad out these dry conditions with, we have more rain in the forecast Monday and Tuesday, and then again next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The bad news is, again, we need a lot more of that rain, so we're not relying on the snow come this winter. And I think maybe we start to get a little bit more energy moving through the atmosphere. Now that the hurricanes are further into the Atlantic, we can kind of decongest the traffic jam that is set up across the United States in the weather world. So there's a look at your 10-day forecast. If you're not a fan of the rain or the cooler temperatures, enjoy the next couple of days because we got some changes as we go into next week.
Thank you, Blaze. Well, we wanted to say thank you again. With 171 donations yesterday, News 3 Now's Coats for Kids campaign has received a total of 3,087 coats to keep Dane County kids warm this winter.
We're trying to collect 5,000 by Saturday, so if you have an opportunity to go through your closet and collect up any new or gently used winter gear, you can donate it to any Clinky Cleaners location in Dane County. And all of the information about the distribution, by the way, is on channel3000.com. We'll be right back. The world's most recognizable showgirl is about to begin her new era.
In just about 7 hours, Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl, officially drops. So back in August, Swift announced the new music on her now fiancé, Travis Kelce's podcast. Remember they got engaged? Well, she said the album was inspired by the record-smashing Eras Tour, the first ever to gross more than $2 billion. That's going to be a fancy wedding. Fans are flocking to see her Taylor Swift, the official release party of a Showgirl film, in theaters this weekend only, and the album has already broken a record with more than 5 million Spotify pre-saves. Now, here's a helpful hint. The album officially drops at midnight, but here in the Central Time Zone, we'll get it at 11 p.m., everyone.
You gonna be staying up tonight?
I will.
I think you will.
I will.
Yeah. You a fan too, Blaze?
No. But this is a really big day for her. And a really big day for her fans. And I'm happy for
and
you.
You support it.
Well done.
Yes, I'm so happy for you. And it's going to be quiet tonight as you're listening to her new album. 60s, underneath clear to mostly clear conditions. There's a look at the 10-day forecast. Plenty of sunny conditions to keep listening to that album this weekend.
Thank you, Blaze the Diplomat. We'll be right back.